Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back for another day in the life. Today we're gonna be going over a full day of eating. So I'm gonna show you exactly what I eat each and every day, and we're actually gonna do a little bit of a grocery haul from Costco later to show you the things that I buy to make hitting my macros, hitting my goals that much easier. These are the things that we basically buy on repeat. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to nutrition is repetition and predictability, just so it takes the guesswork out. And we're gonna show you guys today exactly how I accomplish that. So we're gonna start the day with a workout like we always do. Depending on the effort, I usually actually don't eat in the mornings before I train. If I'm doing a really hard run or I'm doing like a long aerobic effort that's gonna be like over 60 to 90 minutes, I might try to take in some simple carbohydrates in the morning, like banana, maybe some sourdough and honey, protein bar, something like that. But just because today we're hitting a pretty chill, relaxed session, that's probably gonna be around the 30 to 45 minute mark, I'm gonna do it fasted. I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting for a couple reasons, mainly just because I don't like to train with food in my stomach, but that's kind of my approach. And we're just gonna start today with my typical electrolytes, creatine, and a coffee. We're gonna crush that session out, and we're gonna show you guys what we get into for our first meal, post-workout, and kind of start from there. So buckle up, hope you enjoy. And let's get into it. A lot of people have been asking me about the machine that I bought. So this is the La Marzocco Micra. Couldn't tell you exactly what the name of the grinder is, but it is also La Marzocco. And this was the kind of housewarming gift my wife and I gave ourselves. We had a friend of ours who totally geeked out on this stuff for about 3 years, and he researched like every different espresso machine, and he kind of landed on this one, and it's been wicked. So this is the morning ritual, morning routine, and it's actually one of my favorite parts of the day. All right, so first thing is always first. This is my morning cocktail. After you sleep, you're obviously a little bit dehydrated, so the first thing we wanna do is replenish all the lost electrolytes. So we're gonna go in with a scoop of Hydrate by the homies at Transparent Labs. Lemon Lime, I think, is my favorite flavor. And then we're gonna go in with creatine, which is the most researched performance supplement of all time. Every day, we're doing at least 5 grams. Ton of performance benefits, but there's actually a ton of research coming out of the cognitive benefits of creatine as well. So we're gonna sip on this, and then we're gonna have our coffee to give us a natural boost to start our day. I usually try to withhold caffeine for the first like 60 to 90 minutes after I wake. Just so you guys know, I actually don't own this house. I'm just a tenant here. This is the landlord. This is the guy in charge. This is Joey. He runs the show. He's the king of the castle. So that is pretty much workout done for the day, you guys. A little bit longer than expected because we are in the business of also creating content. So sometimes we gotta make it a little bit longer to do some videos to bring you guys a ton of value. We're gonna shower now and then get into meal number 1, as I mentioned. I don't have much of an appetite before I train or right after a train, but I can tell you after I shower and come back here, the appetite's gonna kick in, and we're gonna be pretty hungry. So we're We're gonna show you guys what like a typical breakfast looks like for yours truly. We got some groceries coming. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what we usually grab at the store. Got some work to do. I'm gonna have to walk this guy at some point, and then some recovery later today, just to unwind, relax, and get ready to do it all again tomorrow, because I gotta go to work. So I'm gonna clean up, grab up. We'll see you guys back down here in a second. All right, gang. Just finished a workout, little work. The time now is 11:05. So this is usually kind of when I break my fast. Not that I have like hard and fast rules. I'm not like, 16-8 or like I don't have windows where I eat. I just kind of fit things in my day. So post-workout, priority is always going to be protein. So I basically eat the same breakfast every single day. It's gonna be 4 whole eggs and about 250 grams of egg whites. I don't measure anymore because I've been doing this so long. That being said, seeing this is a video all about nutrition, if you are looking to gain size, lose weight, whatever it may be, and you've never tracked your food, you are missing out massively. And the reason for that is a lot of people have no idea of how much they are under or overeating. Because I've tracked food in the past, I know what a full day of eating looks like, and that's what I always tell people. You need to track your food so you have a mental conceptualization of like what a full day of eating looks like. That way when you move past the actual tracking part, you just have, a memory of what a plate should look like or what portion sizes should look like. That is always the single biggest lever that you can pull on, is prioritizing nutrition. Doesn't matter how good your workouts are, doesn't matter how hard you're training, if you're not feeling correctly, you're missing out huge. So we're going to grab a couple huevos and a carton of egg whites, which is one of the staples that we're going to show you in the grocery haul a little bit later. And if you guys have any questions about nutrition, drop them in the comments below. I'm trying to get a lot better at responding to comments, so if you have any questions about nutrition, drop them there. I'll try to get back to those best I can. The reason I'm adding butter is because I'm intentionally trying to get more calories in. With the sessions that I'm doing every day, I'm at least burning 1,000 active calories on top of my regular total day energy expenditure. So I need to get 3,600 calories in just to hit maintenance. Don't want to be in a deficit when you're trying to build fitness, and right now I'm really trying to build my running fitness, and just the fact that I carry more muscle mass on my body, I just have to get more calories in. So I'm intentionally adding something like butter to give me some extra calories. That being said, this stuff will kill you. Not kill you in the sense of it's bad for you, but just if you're trying to be in a deficit, things like cooking oils, spreads, dressings, all that stuff can be pretty detrimental to your success. Something like an avocado oil spray, that can be huge, because that's the difference between I probably put 100 calories of butter in here, where a 2-second spray I think is 30 calories, and it actually works better as a non-stick in my opinion. Like I said, 250 grams of egg whites. Egg whites are the ultimate protein cheat code. They're basically just pure protein. Looking at the calories for half a cup or 100 grams is 50 calories and 11 grams of protein. So this stuff is awesome. Again, because I've done so much tracking in the past, I basically know what 250 grams looks like, which is about right there. And then we're gonna go in with 4 whole eggs. And don't demonize the yolk. There's been, controversy, hearsay, back and forth for years and years and years about the cholesterol and all that stuff. There's so much good fat and micronutrients in the yolk that you're just not getting in the white. So do not fear, and you'll see how I cook these in a second. The yolk kind of makes a bit of a sauce. That kind of sounds gross. So I basically put everything in there, and then so I don't have to worry about flipping it and cracking the yolks and messing things up, I put a lid on. This is gonna basically cook the egg through and keep the yolk runny, and I'm not gonna have to worry about flipping it. That is breakfast. What we're gonna do over here is we're gonna grab Transparent Labs protein bar. This is the best protein bar that I've ever had. All natural ingredients, tastes amazing. I joke with my wife that I have a 2-a-day habit. I try just to have one of these things. They're that good. So this is some quick carbs, a bit of protein as well. I'll have that with my eggs, and that is pretty much meal 1. As you guys can see, when done correctly, we got egg whites that are cooked, we got yolks that are still runny, and hopefully this should slide out of the pan and I won't embarrass myself on the internet. Eggs sense fear, so you just gotta kind of go for it. that is pretty much brekkie as I break a yolk. I kind of go through phases with like my seasonings. I'm into the Lowry's right now. So again, just like the egg yolk, sodium is not the devil's work. We sweat, especially if you're active, you know, firefighters especially, because of, you know, our line of work and the fact that we can become dehydrated very easy. Sodium is actually a good thing. Salt in general is just so vital for so many of our bodily functions. So I'm gonna sit down, crush this out. We're looking at like 65 grams of protein, you guys, just for breakfast. Super easy, inexpensive, no issues there. So this is my brekkie pretty much every morning. And for those of you who say it's very hard to hit your protein goal, you're not eating the right foods. One thing I can do is I actually have a PDF document of my 15 favorite high protein foods. We'll drop that in the description for you guys below. And it also has a sample full day of eating, which I believe is 2,200 calories and 220 grams of protein. So you guys get an idea, and it's basically just what I eat every day. Case in point on the egg sauce. Crack this baby open. And kind of spread it over the yolk. I know it looks nasty. Some of you are probably like a little bit queasy if you have an issue. My wife doesn't like runny eggs. I like runny eggs. It makes the egg white that much tastier, and this is why we do what we do. And just on cue, my beautiful wife just got home and she's got the grocery haul that we're gonna show you guys. Alrighty, also as promised, Costco food haul. These are the things that we basically buy on repeat. As I mentioned before, that is really beneficial because the more predictable and repetitious a word? Hopefully it's a word. The more repeatable your stuff is, the better, because you don't have to think about it. Again, I eat this basically the same thing every single day, and it takes the guesswork and stress out of nutrition, and that way I just know I'm hitting my macros, hitting my goals without having to think about it. The same thing goes for the grocery store. When we go into Costco, we're super efficient, we're super effective. Go in, we know what we need to grab, get in, get out, and you're also not grabbing any extra crap that you don't necessarily need. We'll start over here with some like the drinks. Coconut water, really great natural electrolyte. We love having this on hand just for that reason. I also love the taste of coconut water if I don't want to be drinking something like an electrolyte mix. This is a great natural alternative. Carbonated water is another one of those really beneficial things, especially if you are trying to lose weight. The carbonation gives you a feeling of fullness or satiation. So if I am in my witching hour in the evening and I feel like I'm hungry and I want a snack, I'll have a sparkling water instead, because it kind of will help alleviate some of that hunger. And there's no calories, which is super, super great. Been loving these low calorie, low carb, high protein wraps. If I'm not really feeling the eggs that we had this morning, I'll maybe do like a breakfast burrito or something. This stuff is, yeah, maybe a little bit more highly processed, or maybe there's some things in it that like traditional wraps won't have, but it allows me to get that sort of fix. It allows me to address that hankering or craving for something like tortillas without all the extra calories. Moving on to some of the sort of like breakfast essentials. Egg whites, we already showed how we utilize them. This is something that I will also put in my work bag. That way I don't have to be that guy who's like asking people to buy extra things in the mess. I'll just bring this. We usually have eggs every day anyways, so I'll just add in some egg whites. That way I'm able to hit my macros without being a pain in the butt to my crew members. Whole eggs here as well. We're really lucky. We live in a rural area where we have a really great kind of local farm fresh egg stand down the road, but if we're at Costco, we'll usually grab a bunch of their organic eggs. As you can see, we have 2 massive bags of steel cut oats. We're gonna show you guys in a second like an Instapot oat recipe that I've been preparing on repeat. It allows us to bulk cook oats and have them in the fridge, just so when I'm busy in the day, I can have a quick ready meal to throw in the microwave and kind of rock and roll. Nice part about steel coat, a little bit more fiber than your traditional quick oat, so you get the convenience of having it in the fridge while also getting the added fiber, something that a lot of people aren't getting enough of. Got some pecans. This is stuff that I'll throw into yogurt to add some like healthy fats and stuff, burning a ton of calories with the current prep. So having little things like that to get a few extra calories in can be really nice. And again, healthy fats from pecans, definitely something that you want in your diet. In terms of snacking, this is another example of like just being smart with your choices. Things like a muffin or something that is like super calorie dense, like probably not gonna be a great snack for someone that's trying to be mindful of what they're eating. But if you can get these things, like high protein snacks, protein is great because A, it's something that we don't get enough of, and B, it's highly satiating, meaning it's actually gonna keep you full. I always talk with my clients is like, if you eat 1,000 calories of donuts, you're gonna be hungry in 15 minutes. If you eat 1,000 calories worth of chicken breast, you're not gonna wanna eat for 3 days. Protein is really, really good for that reason. A lot of people think that like frozen fruits and vegetables aren't as great. We have a dietitian that works with us at Everyday Heroes, and she says a lot of the times frozen fruit is actually better because it's harvested at its peak ripeness or readiness. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's another example of like, if you know about nutrition, you can kind of debunk some of these common myths. So we have a ton of this stuff on hand. I will mix that in with the oats that I make. We'll go with like a berry mix, or I'll just do frozen blueberries. The nice part about, you know, your nutrition is if you eat the same things consistently, you can kind of just plug and play and change the mix-ins to keep things exciting. So that's what we'll utilize those for. Also, if I'm feeling funky and I want to do a smoothie, I might make a berry smoothie. I'm usually more of like a funky monkey banana smoothie kind of guy, but we have options there. Some more fruit and vegetables, cucumbers, great quick snack. My wife just made this like beautiful Asian dish with like some marinated cucumber salad, which we were like, that's the best way to eat an entire cucumber because it was super flavorful. Eating healthy does not have to be boring, you guys, and I will stress that to the nth degree. If you're just mindful with what you're mixing in, you can eat really well. Doing something like a rice vinegar and soy with some sesame oil, maybe it's gonna add like 60 calories, but it's gonna make eating 2 cucumbers feel super, super easy and effortless and taste delicious. I'm a weirdo who eats a bunch of kiwis with the skin on. Drop in the comments below, skin on or skin off with your kiwis. I used to peel them, but now I'm lazy and I just eat it. And there's also some great fiber and nutrients in the skin. Brussels sprouts, awesome thing. Throw in the oven, 400 roast, tastes great with dinner. Our dinner approach is like carbohydrate, lean cut of meat, and vegetable. So we have stuff like that on hand all the time. Fresh fruit to have on hand. We'll just like cut up a bunch of watermelon, throw it in the fridge. So if we are feeling a little bit peckish, we have a good snack to go to. And then bananas is gonna be like a go-to thing that I have like every single morning. And then just some like mismatched sausage, condiments, things like that. Coconut oil is a great healthy fat to cook with. Super high smoke point too. So if you're like frying something, coconut oil, the smoke point basically refers to how hot it can get before it starts to like burn. Coconut oil is really good for that. And there's also a bunch of great applications using that instead of like seed oils, canola oil, stuff that we don't want to have. Greek yogurt, which is something that again, I eat every single day. In addition to the egg whites, I will bring Greek yogurt with me to work. So when I'm having that witching hour at work as well in the evening, I'll usually just grab some plain Greek yogurt and add some protein powder in. The reason that I do the 0% plain is because it allows me to control the sweetness. A lot of these like pre-sweetened, like, you know, flavored yogurts will have a ton of extra sugar. This way I'm able to kind of throttle the sugar. So whether that's with a protein powder or using something like maple syrup or honey, I can kind of dictate how much sugar is added. And this is an absolute staple. So we will have some of this later. This is kind of like my midday snack before dinner. A couple things that we missed tucked in the back here too. Almond butter. Sometimes I'll put that in my yogurt. I'll usually have it in the morning with my banana. I'll dip it in some almond butter just to add, again, some healthy fats, some good calories. There's some other stuff here, some healthy snacks just to kind of satisfy that sweet tooth and that hankering. Last thing that we forgot, we buy a bunch of this ground beef. I could eat a ground beef and rice bowl every night for dinner, I'm pretty sure. So that's something that we'll do a lot of the time. So we'll throw these in the freezer. In the morning, we'll take one of these out, throw it in a pan, some rice, a vegetable, super tasty. I've been having this like coconut rice recently where instead of using water, we use coconut milk. It is absolutely delicious. And then like the coconut milk, because there is some fat and sugar content in it, it kind of like browns on the bottom of the pot and it's absolutely delicious. So I always joke with my wife, she's like, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, coconut rice and ground beef, because I could literally eat the same thing every day. And it goes back to the point of like eating well. It does not have to be boring. That bowl is like loaded with some good carbohydrates, tons of protein, some good fiber and micronutrients from the vegetables. So I mean, I think I beat that horse to death. But these are the things that basically we buy on repeat, allow me to eat well, fuel effectively, keep things exciting, while also just being quick, efficient in the grocery store. And buying in bulk also saves you a little bit of cashola. This seems like a ton and it's usually a lot of money like in the moment, but it saves you money in the long run. So I'm gonna show you now how to make those delicious oats that we are going to have a little bit later today. The reason that we buy all these steel cut oats is because I've been making these Instapot oats, which are super easy, super quick, and they're awesome. Before, I used to do a lot of quick oats because it was quick and convenient. But the nice part about the steel cut is that there's a lot more fiber, which is always a benefit. Super straightforward, 2 cups of oats. And then we're gonna take it over here. We're just gonna add 4 cups of water. So basically a 2-to-1 ratio of water to oats. So 2 cups oats, 4 cups of water. And we're gonna add a little bit more because I'm gonna add a bunch of protein powder to this after. That way the protein's already mixed in, so when I wanna reheat this later, I don't have to mix the protein in, it's already in there. So that's it, you guys. 2 ingredients, we'll add the protein after, throw this in the Instapot, set it, forget it, super easy. And bulk cooking is one of the best things that you can do. Meal prep is gonna make your life so much easier. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. That's what I always say, so stuff like this is an absolute cheat code.
Minutes later.
Suction, we are done here. As I mentioned before, I will usually add protein powder beforehand. That way I don't have to add it after and have a mess, because what will happen in the fridge is this will kind of solidify and congeal, and it kind of makes it a pain in the butt to mix the protein in. So 1 scoop at a time, I'll add some protein in just to make sure that it gets combined nicey nice. And this is exactly the texture that I'm going for. Bring on the thickness. And as I mentioned before, you guys like didn't have to sit there and watch this, babysit it, stir it, literally set it, forget it. It can naturally depressurize what you're actually supposed to let it do. And then whenever you got some spare time in your day, you can go ahead and do that. So I will usually add like, I think we have about 5 servings here. I'll add about 3 or 4 scoops of protein, which will add basically 20 grams of protein per serving. So that way we're getting our carbs, tons of fiber as we mentioned with the steel cut, and then some added protein with the protein powder. And the reason that I go unflavored is so we can kind of decide what we want to do on that day with the flavors that we're looking for. And this will be a delicious meal number 2 of the day. Not only do you need to get in carbohydrates to replenish glycogen after a session, with the amount of running and stuff that I'm doing, I have my long run tomorrow, so you also have to think about making sure that you don't get too far behind on your fueling. So I'm actually eating carbs thinking of the session that is like, 12, 24 hours ahead of time. Proper fueling is so important for performance, recovery, all that fun stuff. Looking pretty good there. My wife's gonna be proud of me. I'm usually impatient and add all the protein right away and then it gets all gritty, but I listen to her. Like I said, there's about 5 to 6 servings here, so I'm just gonna take about 1 serving's worth. A little bit of almond butter. We got the dribs and drabs left here of our last jar. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of maple syrup as well. So this is what it looks like. We'll put it in a Tupperware. I'll basically get a portion when I'm kind of on the fly during the day, throw it in the microwave, add the berries, add the maple syrup, add whatever mix-ins I'm doing that day. It literally takes a minute and you got good high quality food. So it doesn't look very appetizing right now as I spill it all over the counter, but this is meal number 2, and this is again something that I've been eating pretty much every day. I love it, tastes great. Last little snacky poo before dinner, as I mentioned, is usually my yogurt. I always try to manage my yogurt tubs. That way I can just mix it in here because it's less dishes for me. So I'm just gonna take about 350 grams. Again, I just know what that looks like because I've been at this for a long time. Again, 0% Greek yogurt, just like the egg whites, is basically just like straight protein, and 0% meaning like the milk fat percentage is 0. Lower in calories and like a 2 or 3%. And again, if you know what you're doing when it comes to your nutrition, it's the little things like that that are gonna become blatantly clear. And when we work with our clients, they're like, oh my God, like I was just grabbing whatever yogurt like was a good flavor. I never looked at like the milk fat percentage. But when you really see that stuff, especially as it like compounds like over time or like, a couple servings, it makes a big difference. So what I've been doing recently is I've been adding a scoop of this grass-fed colostrum from Transparent Labs. This stuff is loaded with things that are amazing for your body and also is high in protein. So I do a scoop of that. This is their chocolate flavor and it is delish. In addition to that, I also do a scoop of their chocolate chip banana bread protein powder, which I think is my favorite flavor. I'm one of those weird kids that really love like the taste of penicillin, and not that this tastes like penicillin, but it's got that like banana flavoring, which I really like. So a bunch of added protein utilizing this stuff. It tastes fantastic. I'll mix this in. The one nice part too I like about adding the protein powder to the yogurt is it thickens it up and it kind of gives it like this cheesecake consistency. I like the thickness, bring on the thickness. And that'll be the last sort of high protein snack before dinner, you guys. As I mentioned before, if you have a hard time hitting your protein goal, something like this or just knowing what you're putting in your body is gonna make a massive difference. Like this is probably in the neighborhood of 60 and 65 grams of protein. You take the oats that we ate, you take our breakfast, and then you take this. Like we're probably already close to 150 to 175 grams of protein and we haven't had dinner. Dinner's gonna be our last little dose of protein, and then that allows me to easily get that like 225 grams of protein per day. Most people should be shooting for like a gram to like a gram and a half per pound of body weight. I shoot for that like 1.2-ish, so I'm shooting for around 225 grams of protein, and it's not hard. If you guys know the right foods to eat, it's not hard. So I'm gonna take this in the office, crack on with a little bit more work. Hard stop time for me, trying to balance shift work and running this business is like 6:30, 7 o'clock is when my phone goes on DND. And kind of having that balance and shutting your brain off is really, really important. I love doing this. I love creating content. I love, all that stuff, but we need to have boundaries, and that's what I try to set. So we're gonna finish off our work day, finish off this, and we will see you guys for dinner. So that is pretty much the day done. I'm gonna sit down and enjoy a mighty protein meat stick, watch some TV, and wind it down, and then we're gonna have din soon. What are we having for din, Huns?
Chicken enchiladas.
Chicken enchiladas. So chicken enchiladas for dinner. Gonna unwind with the family. Enjoy that. That'll allow us to hit our protein goal, and that is pretty much it, you guys. So that is a full day of eating in my life. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Until next time, take care, stay safe.